Hey gang, Morgan, right? Hey, checking back in with you. Friday, took a little bit off. I had to fly out to Kansas for some family stuff, but I am back. This is Monday, April 2nd, 2018, and there is a couple things I want to talk with you today, and I'm telling you right now, I am sick and tired of hearing about how, it's the parents or the kids have a problem. No, I'm going to show you today, kids don't have the problem. It's the parents who have the problem. Parents are the problem, not the kids. You know why? Because they're setting the example. And I'm going to talk about that later. This is the one today, though, that I want to talk about. This one really irritates me because this tells me right now, I'll tell you, in this story, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, the bad guy ought to be prosecuted. Absolutely no doubt. This human piece of garbage ought to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And if and when he's found guilty, and he's clearly going to be found guilty on this, they ought to sentence him, throw away the key, and bury him under 10 tons of concrete. I don't care. What this guy did was reprehensible. So let's talk about this. So what I want to do is let me pull up the story for you real quick and tell you why this one got me going. And I can't remember who I got this from. I apologize if I don't remember the name. But I'll figure it out a little bit later and I'll put it in the notes. But let's talk about, this is the one I'm talking about. This is the one, a Florida man is charged with sexual assault after a 10-year-old girl found in a dog collar. Now, if you read the headlines, you're going to go, oh my God, this guy, what did he kidnap the girl? What did he do? No, he didn't kidnap the girl, not in the way that you think. This is a 10-year-old girl that was on Facebook, alone, unsupervised. This perpetrator was able to get her to provide nude photos, to do sexual acts, and then agree to meet him by saying that. And what the girl did is he met her through an online app and then chatted with her on Facebook and through text messages. So through text messages, so she's got a phone, most likely a smartphone. She's got access at 10 years old to Facebook. You're not supposed to have it till you're 13. You certainly shouldn't have an account without the parents knowing about it. So if the parents knew, that's to me, that's a prosecutable offense. And if they didn't know, that should be a prosecutable offense too. And I'll tell you why, because this is what it contributed to. So he made the girl perform sexual acts, sent him photos and videos. He then took 3 days off from work. She left a note with her parents saying she planned to stay at a friend's house for the next 3 days. Leave a note and your 10-year-old's taking off. So the note was found. Parents called 911. They realized it. According to him, according to the sheriff's office, they were able to use some of the photos in this guy's Facebook post, track him down to a Motel 6. Within 35 minutes of the call, she was found hiding in the bathroom, wearing a dog collar, and he manipulated her. He groomed her online, and this guy was about to commit horrendous things. And it sounds like, oh, this guy's a bad guy. I shudder. And in fact, the sheriff said, I shudder to think of what the other horrible consequences would have been had her parent not immediately reported her missing. Folks, the parents failed. It's not about the point of whether of course they immediately reported her missing. Where were they before the call? Where were they with her phone? What was she doing on Facebook? What was she doing being able to send these kind of messages? 10 years old, and the parents have no clue? I'm sorry. No excuse for that in this day and age. If you, the parents, give your kids the phone, you are responsible for what goes on there. You can't give a kid a beer, get him drunk, give him the key to a car and say, oh, thank goodness the ambulance was there to save the other people in the car. Sorry, it doesn't get to work that way. You, the parents, are responsible. You want to be if you want, you need to set the example. And I'll tell you why. How many parents do we see driving around that are on their cell phones? Then we wonder why the kids are on their cell phones. I'm going to talk to you about one on Wednesday about shaming. About this is the one. Everybody thinks it's cute that we post these videos on there. And I get that they say, oh, it's tough love. I'm showing my kid. Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you why on Wednesday that's bad practice and what it leads to when you allow that stuff, when you publicly shame your kids. So when we set the example for our children, what example are we setting? We're setting for what they're going to do, not only as teens and tweens and kids, but as adults as well. So on this one, this is my feeling. Look, being a benevolent dictator has its advantages. And one of the things is you know what's going on in the house. I mean, you can know more. You would no more send your kid on a field trip where you've never met the teacher, you didn't know the kid was going to that school. You've got 10 kids saying, oh, we're just all, as 13-year-olds, we're all going to get together and we're going to this place for 3 days unsupervised. How many parents would go for that? How many parents would drop their kids off at somebody's house who they've never met the parents, never met the kids, have no idea who these people are, but yet their kid's going to be spending the night? Didn't happen in my day, I'm telling you. You had to know, call me when you get there. I want to be able to talk. Oh, by the way, I caught a few of these scams myself. No, you're not going to call me on a cell phone. You're going to call me from a landline. I want to see it come in on caller ID, and I want to talk to the parents to make sure that, hey, we're in sync here. So my thought is when you go back and you read this story, and this is the story I'm talking about right here. When you read this story, I'm telling you, this guy ought to be prosecuted. I think they need to set the example because the parents definitely were not the example here. Yeah, they called. Good for them, but it never should have happened in the first place. Don't get me wrong. I love kids, raised them. But I am drawing a line to say, sorry, this doesn't cut it anymore. Quit. If you want to be the exception, be an exceptional parent by being the example. Set the example. Get off your phone when you're driving. Get off your phone and talk to your kids in the restaurant. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about, during this week too, about watching some of the activities. And I'm going to talk about this more in our group. By the way, you know who I forgot to have on here? Gosh darn it. It's been a long day. Didn't get to bed till 2 o'clock this morning, 3 o'clock this morning, flying back from Kansas. I'm just discombobulated. I forgot Jack Bauer. Can you believe I forgot Jack Bauer? Can't believe that. So anyway, Jack Bauer says the same thing. Prosecute these people. Parents ought to be prosecuted as well. Start being the example. Start setting the example and start raising exceptional children. But guys, guess what? It is not the kids' fault. It's the parents' fault on this. And they ought to go after them just as well. So, and I know that's going to make a lot of people happy. And they're going to say, oh, you know, that's being mean on them. Look what they've already gone through. Guys, they never would have had to go through it if they had been paying attention to what their kid was doing online. No excuse, zero excuses, not going to accept any. I understand this may alienate some of you, may tick a few of you off. Maybe you don't want to listen to it anymore. I don't care. Here's what I care about. I care about to make sure that as these kids, you guys have seen all the stuff I've talked about. Kids are dying at an alarming rate. We lose more kids in 1 year to suicide than we have in school shootings since 1999. But what gets the press? I get it. It's terrible that any kid dies, but it's a fact of life. Things like this are going to happen. So I'm going to focus on doing the things where I think I can have the greatest impact. A lot of people already involved in the school shooting and the gun debate. They can have at that. I fully support reasonable things that are done there. On the other hand, this is something I can focus on. So we're going to continue to focus on that as well. So make sure you look in the show notes. Join our community where I'm going to go into other topics. We're going to talk about things exclusively there that we don't talk about here, and it's free to join. Answer 3 quick questions. Hop into the community. Kids, tweens, teens, and tech. We're going to give you all sorts of insights, things you can do. Make sure you latch on to my free courses. I'm giving away a bunch of stuff for free because kids need to have accounts that are secured. Make sure you secure their Facebook accounts. I also have a new paid course now for Instagram for $17. You guys can take a look at it, but it shows you how to secure your Instagram account, the entire family, make sure that those things don't get hijacked. They happen all the time. And then kids end up being extorted, how to set and remember strong passwords, all that good stuff. It's all down in there, the link to this episode today. So, hey, enough for the rant today, but I'm telling you, time to start being benevolent dictators. It has its advantages. Start being the example. Quit being the exception. Well, you know, I don't want my kids. You know, I want them to be friends. I don't want them mad at me. Yeah, guess what? Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody said it was raising kids was easy. Trust me. We've all been there. Start being the benevolent dictator. I will see you on Wednesday where we go into depth on we're going to talk about shaming on Wednesday and why that's a bad thing to do. My opinion for the kids, but guess what? You're listening to me for my opinion, so I'm going to give it to you. Okay, guys? Yeah, it sounds like I'm off on a rant today. It's okay. I'm going to be okay, but I'm going to be tough. All right? Tough but fair. See you guys on Wednesday.